G'day! Normie here. I'm talking like I got a carrot shoved up the arse.
Now, how you going, guys? I love that tone when you hear a good Aussie bloody going off. Fucking funny as fuck. But, it is Saturday, 11:30, about to go to lunch with my old man and Lisa, so it should be a good cracking day. Go and have a chicken schnitzel with garlic prawns and garlic sauce chips and salad. Yummy. And I get a can of Coke as well. Love me can of Coke. Yeah, but today I was going to do a bit of psychiatry on you guys. Bit of psychiatry. But yeah, well, I've been locked up 18 times in 20 years for drug psychosis mainly, and PTSD from the war zone I was in. And yeah, and depression was a big one as well. That was a caper, but a lot of psychosis from drug abuse due to PTSD. So I've seen about 20 different psychiatrists through travelling around Australia so much. And yeah, probably about 10 psychologists. So yeah. And I've done 1,000 hours of counselling at Hollywood Clinic. So I've been around the traps. So if you're going to ask someone, you might as well fucking ask a ex-fucking junkie, PTSD, fucking war veteran, what the fuck's really going on with our tickers and mines and fucking all the shit that keeps us going. But at the end of the day, you want a happy life. Everybody wants a happy life. And yeah, the way you get happy is you accomplish things. So yeah, things that make you happy and feel successful, feeling success. That's another one, big one to beating depression, is doing things that make you feel like you successfully created something or did something. Yeah, that boosts you out of depression. But the biggest one I've found is gratification. You got self-gratification, which is indulging in lots of things, and you find at the end of the day you don't find really any pleasure in it. That's self-gratification. But then there's gratification for being alive and having food and shelter over your head and your arms and legs both working, and yeah, like 1/3 of the world goes to bed hungry. So you think, fucking man, I'm on top because I had a feed last night. I am in the race. So that's gratification. If you can swing that one round into your mind and go, oh, I'm pretty thankful for my situation. I got water, food, shelter. I had a bed to sleep in last night. And you can bring that into your life when you're thinking depressed shit. That helps you boost your success as well, basically. So, but depression is just it's serotonin in your brain pretty much, and your serotonin levels. And when you take an antidepressant, your serotonin levels go up. So it's really just a chemical imbalance. And yeah, you take your antidepressants and think positive. You can beat your way out of depression. So yeah. So, but I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Western Australia, Perth, and I was 30 years old, and I had an appointment with the psychiatrist in Perth City at 11:30. It was 9:30 in the morning, And I was sitting there in my lounge chair with the curtains shut, just sitting there. And so I get on the horn, get on the phone and ring them. And say, look, I've mathematically worked out that for me to come and see you puts my life in danger 2,497 times unless I just sit here in my chair with the curtains closed and don't move. And fucking, they go, well, this is why you've got to come in. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not a silly bastard. You can fuck off. So, yeah, that was the mathematics of death. So I used to calculate death a lot. But I cured myself now, so I'm right. Just don't fear death. So fucking, and I couldn't be bothered if I died now. I'm too fucking old and I've had fun, so I'm ready to die. So I don't fear death anymore. And fearing death is a funny one when people go, I don't fear death. And you go, you fuckwit, you know there's a million ways to die, don't you? And very slowly. So you do fear death, man. But you don't fear what happens when you die. That's another fear you can have. But, okay, I'll rephrase that. I don't want to die in agony for a long time. That would be a real bastard. But I'll probably get emphysema anyway. But, yeah, and the PTSD, well, fuck, man. It's just another frequency your brain's in. And, yeah, a bit of reptilian mode, and your survival instinct has kicked in higher than normal people's. And, yeah, you're in survival mode. So you get a lot of stresses in the body. And this can lead to depression as well. But, the biggest reason why we're all depressed and 60% of Australians are on antidepressants is because we're not like when you had to go get your water 100 years ago, you had to walk and get your water out of the well or the river. Now, these days you just turn on a tap, you want to shower, turn on hot water, you don't have to go cut firewood to boil the water to make it hot. So all these exercises we're not doing anymore. It's an easy life what we've got, and a lot of us aren't getting enough exercise because exercise builds serotonin as well. And the good thing about exercise also, it releases a lot of stress out of your body. So yeah, so exercise is good for depression and PTSD. Just a 30-minute walk a day. Or go and do some light weights, and yeah, it gets rid of your cortisone or your cortisol that you build up in your body, and which turns to adrenaline. So yeah. But schizophrenia, they've diagnosed me psychotic schizophrenic, or psychotic's different than schizophrenia, but that's when I used to come in off me drug fuck days. Like, I'd go on the drugs for 3 months and come in a fucking total schizophrenic, talking to gods and fucking talking to God and fucking you name it, man, all this shit. And yeah, I'd go into hospital and they'd tell me I was psychotic and schizophrenic. So that schizophrenic episodes travelled with me down the mental health line and sticks with me today. Like, if they bring up my file, I go, oh, you're schizophrenic too? Or I'll be like, no, I'm not. I'm not schizophrenic at all. Okay, I'll tell you what I am. I am a psychic cross... what's it called? I'm an antenna, basically, in consciousness. I'm 3-1 alpha, man. 3-1 alpha, omega, the beginning and the end. We're just in the beginning. and the end. It's the beginning and the end. Man, life's funny. So to beat depression, man, I feel for you, because I've suffered from depression for about 25 years now. As a kid, I never got depressed. Probably if I got into trouble off mum and dad, I would have gone a bit down, but besides that, I was a pretty happy kid. So yeah, so I can't have anything blamed on my childhood, because I had a fucking good childhood. I had a shit hot childhood. But going to Somalia kind of blew my mind a bit, how humans behave to each other in a hot, desolated, famine and drought country with civil war and warlords running it, man, and fucking, yeah, it wasn't what I was brought up with, so kind of traumatised me a bit and made me aware. So yeah, it's the awareness of things. But if you like a drink, alright, there's nothing wrong with having a drink, a 6-pack, probably 3 or 4 times a week. There's nothing, if you just have 6 beers or 4 glasses of wine, maybe a bottle of wine, it relaxes you, man. It's fucking good for you, and it lets you loosen up a bit. I've given up drinking. I haven't had a drink for about 3 months now. But yeah. But it defrags your computer, man. So when someone says, "Oh, you're an alcoholic," tell them to fuck off. At least you're not a stressed out idiot. So fucking, and if you smoke a bit of herb, man, it's that makes you creative, man. So creative, like it's good for you, because it gets rid of the mundane feeling that you get when you've got depression. And when you eat your food, you really enjoy it. If you watch telly, you get right into it. If you're watching a movie, or music sounds even better when you're stoned. And it's a frequency that your mind goes into when you smoke the herb. And that's the frequency it stays at. Like, you got your PTSD, alert, aware brain. And the reason why I know I have PTSD is not because I went into hospital and my sister said, "Oh, what the fuck's wrong with me brother? He hasn't been the same since he come back from a combat zone." And fucking the hospital said, "Tell him to go away and do some more exercise." And my job at 29, I was a brick stacker. I was stacking 50 tons of bricks a day, man. $4.72 a stack. And I said to them, "Look, I can't do any more fucking exercise." So they let me into hospital, and but they took a photo of my brain, because if you ever want to know if you got PTSD, and they'll probably shoot me for this one, but if you're fighting DVA, and basically if you become a grunt and do your infantry training course in Singleton and go to the battalion, you get turned on. You're switched on, man, and it's hard to find that on-off button. And but if you want to deal with Vets Affairs, just go and if you've done a rifleman's course and become a rifleman, man, and not even deployed, I reckon you've got a form of PTSD when they take a photo of your brain, like they did mine. The front lobes are red, and there's a red spot in your brain, and this is how they can tell a PTSD brain. So if you're having trouble with Veterans Affairs, get your brain imagery done, and they'll pay for it. Veteran Affairs will pay for it, and it'll prove that you got PTSD, so they haven't got a fucking leg to stand on. So if you've been in a major car accident where you really got hurt, or had major child abuse or been beaten up badly, you can have PTSD, and if you want to find out if you got it, you go get an imagery done, and it's all the electrons and neutrons and shit in your brain, the electricity flying around, and what hemispheres, left and right hemispheres of your brain, and your amygdala and the cortex and all that shit. But it all comes up electrically, and they can tell. But I've heard taking mushrooms, magic mushrooms, trips your brain back out to back to normal. It reboots your computer, but you've got to take the mushrooms and experience the psychedelic experience. So I was thinking, righto, in the mental hospital for depression, we'll give them magic mushrooms, get a cell, paint it freshly white, with a bed in there and nothing they can hurt themselves with, put some crayons in there and let them have their mushroom experience in a padded cell, basically, so they can't hurt themselves, and they can create with the crayons what's going on, and then after they come off the mushrooms, have a debrief and send them on their merry way with some antidepressants. So yeah, that's. But we should be giving ecstasy to depression patients, and that's simple as that. No one can fucking argue against that, man. Ecstasy for depression, man. It makes so much sense. But ecstasy comes from the ginkgo plant, sassafras tree, and saffron. So yeah, they're the three plants that make ecstasy. So, but if you want to be smart and use the crocus bulb, you change the DNA of by crushing the juice and soaking the seeds of the the ginkgo, the saffron, and the sassafras. You soak their seeds in the crocus bulb juice, and it changes the DNA of the seed, so you get a whole different crop, and you can make a new form of ecstasy.
Nice one, Johnny. Nice one, Johnny Reb.
Yeah, man, we'll make some new form of ecstasy, and you can do it with opium as well. You soak the opium seeds in crocus bulb juice, and it changes the genetics of the plant, so we get a new form of morphine and heroin.
Nice one, Johnny.
Johnny Reb. Okay, guys, hooroo.